TAGNBRAG Nation and Rocky family, welcome back to episode 6 of Food Plot Chronicles. It's crazy that we're already at episode 6. What is your favorite Food Plot Chronicles episode so far this season? Drop a line in the comments with your favorite. And if you like what you're seeing, hit that like button for us. Now last week, we dove a little bit deeper into pruning and trimming apple trees. I didn't get the script for that. Hell, I didn't even know it was gonna be an episode. But Deano, the food plot master, has pulled through once again. And if you missed last week's episode, I would encourage you to go check it out. But this concept can be applied to not only apple trees, but any fruit or nut-bearing tree on your property. A lot of times I feel like people overthink and they think they need to clear a bunch of land, till a bunch of earth, in order to plant food for the deer and for the wildlife on their land. When in reality, the food could already be there. This week, we are going to be talking about fall food plots. The heck's fall food plot? Fall food plots are typically brassicas, turnip, radish, rapeseed blends, but the fall food plots have a very short growing season. Hence why we're planting them right now towards the end of the summer. These are the food plots that look like those big green romaine lettuce leaf fields, and they're awesome. The deer absolutely love them. Typically, the deer will eat the big green leaves in the early part of the season, and then once the snow and the cold weather hits, they'll start digging up the radishes, the turnips, and the rapeseed bulbs, and they'll start eating those. It's really actually a fascinating food plot blend if you ask me, and it's probably the most versatile to hunt from beginning to the end of the season. Now, fall food plots are a pretty simple process to plant. It's pretty much till the dirt, fertilize, and broadcast the seed. And a lot of people will culti-pack after you broadcast the seed, but your boys don't have a culti-packer, so we rely on the rain and good old Mother Nature to do the job for us. Now it's hot out here, but I can feel the rain coming, so I know that tractor's running. Let's see what Deano's up to in the field. All right, folks, time to do a little discing. The disc was on the tractor here, so I just kept it on there. We have been super dry the last couple weeks. This is normally soaked. In fact, that's why the corn stops right there. We couldn't even get in here and plant 2 months ago when we put the corn in. So had to leave it all dry. I already had sprayed it. I even ran through it with the disc prior to that a little bit, even though we were just making a mess. It was just so wet in here. We get runoff all spring in here. You can see where it's still moist. But anyway, we couldn't put a spring crop in right there. So rather than just leaving it dirt, I'll probably throw some turnips or brassica blend from Whitetail Institute in here, just to, number one, test, and two, just make it more food. So it's exposed to the road a little bit, but we do have this little patch of island woods. The deer stay a little bit hidden back here, so, and it's a decent chunk. I mean, this is probably 3/4 of an acre. Nice little patch right here, so, all right, let's turn it up. It's disking up pretty nice for a first pass. Personal preference. If the plot's a little bit bigger and it's got a nice rectangle or circle type shape where you can just buzz the disc around, I feel like it goes kind of quick. You got to do it a few times, that's for sure, but I just feel like I'm being more productive going faster. But the tiller works just as good. I use that for some of the smaller stuff and plots that have a little bit of a weird shape where you don't have to. I can get into areas a little bit better with that smaller tractor, so it's nice for the little fine-tuned stuff. But a plot like this where it's the first time planting it, kind of just testing it out. I don't care about the soil being perfectly flat, but if you want it flat, you can just keep on disking. Yeah. That ought to do it. You could overkill and keep beating the heck out of it if you really want to get it to fine powder, but we don't have a cultipacker. If I had one, I'd probably use it, but we don't. So I actually like it a little bit fluffier like this, because when you broadcast the seed, it falls into all these little cracks and stuff in the soil. I mean, you can see all this? Like, the seed falls right into that, and then we get a good downpour, which we're forecasted to get in a day and a half. It kind of packs all the soil down. It starts breaking up, and it becomes less cracky and fluffy like this, less clumped together. Once it packs it down, everything always, for us, germinates very well. So that's our tactic. Most people will say you got to use a cultipacker, you got to use a cultipacker, which I'm not saying you don't. It's great to use one. We just don't have one. So if you don't have one, don't feel like I can't plant unless I have one. Use this method. Maybe broadcast a little heavier than you normally would with a cultipacker, just because you might lose a little bit of seed if it goes too deep or birds get it, whatever. But let the rain do its work. You're gonna be fine. What's up, guys? We just got a lot of the plots turned. We're getting ready to put some of our fall food plots seed in the ground. But I know we got some rough soil in some spots, and we didn't lime this year. But we've done this the past couple of years, is use this impact soil amendment from Whitetail Institute. It's awesome. It's not a lime replacement, but it gives the soil the necessary nutrients it needs to balance it out temporarily to get your plant, whatever you're planting, but in this case turnips, get them up and going really nicely. And since turnips are a short growing plant, this is a great thing to use for your fall plots, because we don't need that long-term effect. Obviously that's an investment, but this stuff is a great efficient way to get your soil right quickly to be able to get your seed in the ground. So you mix this with water, shake it up, and then you pour it into your spray tank. You want one of these for about 6 to 9 gallons of water. This is a 26-gallon tank, so I'm gonna put 3 to 4 of these in one tank. These will cover a 1/4 acre well. So I'll go spray about 1 acre with this tank and then come back and do it again. This particular plot, little test plot here, I know the soil is really bad in it. It's got a lot of those ferns, and you could just tell the color of the soil. Looks a little sour to me. So we're really giving it a heavy dose of impact. We're gonna see. This is gonna be a great test, because not a lot of stuff grows good in here. Gonna give it the old onions. See what we can do with it. Nice and slow. Soak it. The rope is soaked in it. Oh yeah, when you can just see a nice little coat of moisture on top, you know you're giving it the old creme brulee. The old torch the top creme brulee. All right, what's up, y'all? Food Plot Chronicles doesn't ever end. So last week of July here in Ohio and Western New York, we're planting a few food plots. This is the week I like to do it. It's right around this week or the first week of August at the latest, but you really just have to time up the rains. At least we do, specifically with the strategy we use. So we got a 80% chance of rain tomorrow. That's good enough for me. It's been super dry here. So we got like chances of rain throughout this entire week, and I don't want the fields to get wet and get back on them with the tractor. So I'm preparing everything today and gonna try to seed tonight. Fall food plots are very simple. It's really just turn, fertilize, and plant. We're planting a couple blends from Whitetail Institute, mainly brassica, radishes, rapeseed, turnips. These are the blends that we put in the ground at this time of year to compensate and supplement our spring food, like our soybeans and our corn and spots that we do. It gives the deer the greenage, the tonnage they need throughout the fall to be nutritious and attractive to be able to hunt over these nice little fields that we got. So turn, fertilize, plant. I'm actually having an issue with our fertilizer spreader right now. So the first plot, I just fertilized by hand, which is not a big deal. Some of these plots that we're doing this year are a lot smaller than normal. So broadcasting on a 1/4 of an acre, yeah, takes a little bit longer, but I actually don't like the tire tracks from the tractor in the field anyway, because we're just gonna broadcast the seed. We are not culti-packing it because we don't have a culti-packer, and we're just gonna let the rain pack the soil in and germinate the seed, give that seed a nice soil contact, and it should be good. We've been doing this for a few years. A lot of people say you gotta culti-pack. I'm not disagreeing with that, but sometimes you don't have all the equipment you need, and we don't. So we just use the rain. I always like to plant the turnips with like in a 70 to 80% chance of rain, like usually within 24 hours. I know it's hard to time that, but with not using a culti-packer, I think that's pretty crucial. So if you let it go too much longer than that, you start losing some seed to birds and critters. And so you can do that. You might just want to plant a little bit heavier, but the table is set. I got to fertilize a couple plots, and then we're gonna start seeding. Sorry guys, I'm a little messy. Been guzzling water, dumping it on my face. Just been fertilizing our plots, and I'm gonna start seeding them now. Been doing a lot of it by hand, and it does take a lot longer. Don't even recommend necessarily doing it, but what I do like about it is I can be super precise with where the fertilizer lands. So I've been using a lot less fertilizer, not less fertilizer on the field, but you just lose a lot around the woods and stuff if you're not careful on how far you're flinging it in your 4-wheeler broadcaster or your 3-point broadcaster. So this is just a little strip we left at the end of the field, little tiny spot. We got a stand XOP right in that tree right there. We've done some videos on, and then we got a blind at the top of the hill, but this is a spot where we can sneak in October, maybe some rut hunts in November, and then a lot of our rifle hunts will be up in the blind. But if you have the right wind, this is a perfect little spot to come in here. And these deer, we got big trails coming out of this bedding area right into the end of this cornfield, and it should be a perfect little green ambush spot for these deer to pass through. I'm putting in the winter greens right here from Whitetail Institute. This has got that rain bond on it, so you don't even really, it actually even says on the package, don't culti-pack this. Just seed it, pack it before you seed it, and then let it ride, because it's got that coating on it that's gonna, you know, if it gets moisture, it's gonna germinate, and we're gonna get moisture tomorrow, so this should be perfect. Winter greens are going in the ambush spot. I just had to fly to Tractor Supply and buy this Groundwork 15-pound canvas bag seed spreader. It is not ideal. I got the Earthway, which is what we always use. They're just the nicest, 25 pounds. They usually last a while, but I beat mine up pretty good, and I busted a piece off on the bottom, and she's out of commission. So for tonight, I got to use this canvas. The canvas. The world is your canvas. And then tomorrow, I got a Earthway coming. I'll flip back to that, but we're gonna put some winter greens in. We got some pretty awesome corn right here. It's a little thick, actually. I'm hoping it starts to ear out okay. But big patch of corn in here in front of that blind, and pretty much around the whole outside of this thing, and a bigger portion on the back. I'm gonna plant these winter greens. Just fertilized everything, sprayed it with impact. Should be good to go. Fertilized, and we got some rain coming in tomorrow. It should be perfect timing, but just gonna let the seed fall into all these cracks, and then a hard rain kind of pushes it down a little bit. It'll push that fertilizer down into the soil and should push the seed in just enough to give us a germination. Finishing off the day, one more plot to do today. This is about a half an acre, one of our brassica plots that always grows really good. Dad killed his 10 out of here last year, self-filmed, awesome hunt. Beautiful lush green turnips, brassicas. He came right out of that woods. There's always we got a rope-a-dope, code blue rope-a-dope right there. They always come and check that scrape. That's what he was coming to do. There were some does out here that caught his attention, but he got an arrow before he could go do that. But we've had awesome hunts in the past year. Seen really nice deer. Had a couple rut hunts here where I saw multiple shooters. This is just an awesome spot. We got a pond behind us. It's a good looking spot. Pond behind us, we got bedding behind me as well, and then just big timber this way, and you get bucks cruising. We always get doe out onto this plot, and normally during the rut the bucks come out here and check, and then they're always wintering back in this plot as well. But we're gonna, speaking of winter, the winter greens are going in. That's why they winter back here. Winter greens, it's a blend of the kale, some turnips, and I'm actually mixing in some of the tall tine tubers, the more turnips, more bulbs in the mix as well. So we're gonna see this now. This is the last one for today. We're gonna get some rain tomorrow, and I'll do 2 more towards the end of the week, and then we will be done with food plots for the year. I'm gonna have to fertilize these in about 30 days, maybe hit them with some nitrogen depending on how they look. But the summer is starting to wind down. I don't like saying that, but man, deer season, it's right around the corner. All right, folks, this is a dynamite fall blend brassica turnip food plot. Planted it a couple days ago. As you can see, it's very dry. We did not get the rain that we were supposed to. Figures that. That's been the story of the summer, quite honestly. So I'm gonna keep my eye on it. If I gotta reseed a little bit, I will. But this is one of our lower fields. Normally it's wet, or stays relatively wet. It's in the corner of this huge green field, and we got a blind, a hard blind on it right here. And the reason we have a hard blind is because down in this bottom corner of this field, the wind often swirls. It's usually tough in here, so we give ourselves that option. We do have a stand and a big hemlock right there across the plot, but normally if the wind's swirling or you want to be safe, you want to be in that blind, and it's right on this food plot. So it's a very it's actually primarily a bow stand. But these deer will come out of this back timber. There's a swamp back there, a bunch of hemlocks, and they can just bed basically anywhere back in that timber and swamp. And we use this as kind of a staging plot as the deer come out into this this big destination green field behind us here. It's normally happens a lot in the earlier season, and then we'll get bucks cruising here during the rut, but then we normally don't see them start using this plot again until very late. So we do have another good rain coming tomorrow. It looks like we actually will get that, but that's what I said 2 days ago. So hopefully this plot greens up good, and we got a perfect staging setup in the corner of this field here. Pretty awesome. Surrounded by apple trees, some oak trees and stuff. It's gonna have a lot of food in the future. But the winter greens from Whitetail Institute are gonna suck them in this year. Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the planting process for Food Plot Chronicles 2024. Can you believe it? All the seed on Camp Cutlet grounds is in the ground. Do a rain dance, do a rain dance, do a rain dance. Call this one the sprinkler. Wow, what a season it has been. And I gotta hand it to my brother Dino. He is a workhorse when it comes to to the farmland, to being on the tractor, to sowing the seed. I mean, God bless. That's no easy work, but honestly, together, you are all witnessing our dreams come true. We started with a small 40-acre chunk up here in Western New York, where we ransacked the woods, kicked around the bush, and literally, if it was brown, it was down. And now we've got a couple hundred acres of very well-managed and well-groomed whitetail habitat. And you can see that the deer are all flourishing because of it. Now, just because all the seed's in the ground doesn't mean that Food Plot Chronicles is over just yet. Oh, no, you ain't getting rid of us that easy. As we conclude the fall planting season, we wash off the tractors and we put them inside until next year. We want to show you the results of what Food Plot Chronicles has garnished. We've got corn in the ground and it's looking fantastic. We've got beans in the ground and they're looking fantastic. Got the clover mowed and it's getting munched on day and night. We've pruned apple trees. I mean, might as well start the oven and bake some apple pie while we're at it. And now the fall Food Plot blends are in the ground. As you exit, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube and follow us on all of our social medias. And we'll see you right back here next week for the finale episode of Food Plot Chronicles. No way it's already coming to an end, man. I mean, we were just getting this thing started. I can't do 1 or 2 more episodes after next week. I'm just not ready to stop seeing Dino on that tractor, man.